Hello friends, and today I want to take you through the Smith Morra Gambit. I've started playing Smith Morra Gambit recently against the Sicilian, and I have found this is a very powerful weapon, especially in faster time controls. Even in slower time controls, black has to play very accurately to be able to equalize the position. The only problem with the opening is that if black knows what he is doing, then uh, this may give an advantage to black, because this is really a gambit, in which case black is white is sacrificing a pawn. So let us go ahead and look at the gambit. So this is taken from one of the games, and here it starts with e4 and then c5, knight f3, and this is one way to play the Smith Morra. You can play the next move, which is d4 directly, and after d4, c takes on d4, c3, d takes on c3, and knight takes on c3. So this is a Smith Morra gambit accepted, and I've seen most of the players that I played with, they do take the gambit. Knight to c6, and here white's plan is very easy. He is just developing all of his pieces. So starting first with the bishop to c4, and after e6, white castles, knight f6, and now the key move in the Smith Morra gambit, which is the move queen e2. The idea is that white wants to play the move e4 e5, and he wants to also put his rook on d1, which allows him to play that. Here black played a6, and after rook d1, queen to c7, which also allows, again, kind of moving the queen away from the d file, but it allows bishop f4, and now there's an x-ray on the queen. So here black continued normal development, bishop e7, and now I think e5 is definitely possible in this position. So after d takes on e5, knight takes on e5, knight takes on e5, bishop takes on e5, and queen moving to a5. White played a3, giving more scope for his pieces and also reducing the power of the queen. And after castles, b4, queen to b6, and the queen is getting harassed with bishop to d4, queen to c7, and after rook a to c1, again there is an x-ray on the queen. So if you look at the position here, you would quickly see that all of white's pieces are very active. Both the bishops are pointing towards the king side, and the rooks are on the open files, and black does have problems developing his light squared bishop and the rook. So for a pawn, you kind of get a lot of advantage in the Smith Morra. So here black continued b5. Maybe the most accurate move would have been bishop to d3 here, but bishop to b3, and queen to b7 was played. This again didn't want the simple threat, of course, was knight takes on b5. So to prevent that, queen to b7, and now the bishop is rerouted itself to c2, and now the bishop is kind of looking at the h7 square, and possibly after the exchanges that may happen around the e4 square, white will have a lasting advantage in this position. Here the opponent has played bishop to d7, and now knight to e4, and then bishop to c6. Now this, of course, is a mistake in this position. Knight takes on d4 was probably necessary in this position, but after bishop takes on bishop to c6, simple knight takes on f6, bishop takes on f6 is forced, and now bishop takes and pawn takes, and now we have reached a position where the things are already very difficult for black. All of black's pieces are out of play. The three pieces are not on the king side, and therefore this allows the simple bishop takes on h7, and after king takes on h7, queen to h5, king to g7, queen to g4 check, and then king h7 and a simple rook c3, and that's the end of the game, because there's no way to prevent rook h3 mate unless you want to kind of sacrifice your bishop or something like that, which is probably the only way to prevent the mate. So that is the game from Smith Morra, one of the games, and you can see that how white gets a very lasting advantage for the pawn.
Let's look at another game with Smith Morra, and we have reached the tabular position after the moves e4, c5, knight f3, knight c6, d4, c d4, and then c3. And here, like I said, most people take the gambit. So d takes on c3, and now knight takes on c3. Black continues with e6, bishop to c4, a6, castles, b5, bishop b3, and bishop b7. This kind of setup for the Smith Morra is never good, because even though you put the bishop along the long diagonal, the bishop on b7 is not very active, and it is not covering the light squares around the king, and therefore there are possibilities of sacrifices on f7 and e6. So queen to e2, white plays the normal moves on Smith Morra. That's one of the reasons I like Smith Morra, because white doesn't have to do anything which various justice play to black's moves. Bishop to e7, and now rook to d1, and now knight to a5. So it's already pretty clear that black is running out of ideas on how to, because the knight has put itself in a5 and really has put itself in the rim, again moving the same piece so many times. Bishop comes back to c2, and now bishop to c6. So it's very clear that black is trying to delay the inevitable, and he is just playing around, just seeing or asking if white knows what he's doing. So simple development, bishop f4, and after knight f6, finally black has to develop, because white has developed all his pieces. So here the move e5 has been played. The knight can go to d5, or it can go to h5. Here black go to h5, and now the bishop repositions itself on e3. Now this pawn on e5 is really strong, and it acts as a wedge. So the move g6 is a little difficult to understand. Perhaps black will vary before he castles on any kind of issues that he may have on the h7 square. So the active piece here for black is the c6 bishop, so it's good to eliminate that active piece. So after bishop onto e4, and then knight onto g7, bishop takes on c6, and knight takes on c6, and now knight to e4. Now this knight has two juicy squares, both the f6 square as well as the e6 square. Excuse me. So these two squares, and these are the squares where there are backward pawns, and the knight is ready to jump to either of the squares. Black finally decides to castle, but this allows bishop to h6, and now the knight is pinned. And this, of course, is clearly a mistake. So bishop, queen to c7. I think black simply missed the move. Knight to f6. Bishop takes f6, and after that is forced. Otherwise, also there was a possibility of rook takes on d7. So bishop takes f6, he takes f6, and knight on f5. Bishop takes on f8, rook takes on f8, and here there is a simple move, queen to d2, which also attacks the d7 square and also attacks the h6 square. White, after playing queen to d2, black simply defends the d7 square, but unfortunately after g4, He's not able to defend the h6 square, and now he has to give up a whole piece. And knight to e5, knight takes on e5, queen takes on e5, g takes on e5, queen g takes on f5, excuse me, queen takes on f5, and here after queen to c3, this game was completely won for white. So this again shows the power of the Smith Morra Gambit, where white simply dominated the position. Black didn't seem to know what to do, and this is what happens with a lot of people who play the Sicilian, where they understand the plan, and now they simply are taken into a game where they are not aware of what is going on, and many times they continue with the same plans they would in a normal Sicilian and end up with losing positions. We saw two games in the Smith Morra. Each had a different flavor, and both kind of ended up with a very easy, comprehensive win for white without any difficulty. So these are games of pretty decent players, and I always try to show games which amateurs play, because at a master level you have a much deeper understanding of the position, and also your tactics are pretty sharp. But at amateur level, we do have these kind of miniatures that happen, which pretty much shows why some of these openings which are not played at the grandmaster, super grandmaster level, are still very very good at the master level play. Right, so that's all for today, and I will come back with another couple of games which are probably more played at a master level, a strong masters, where Smith Morra just reigns supreme. So we'll continue the series of Smith Morra in the next video. Thanks for watching.